Yes, so welcome to Leicester Fan TV, Reedy. A little bit of a roundup today. I've heard a few rumours, a few bits and bobs. Currently, I think Leicester are playing against sister club OH Leuven in a three-way 45-minute game kind of thing. Just, pre-season fitness match, however it goes. But we're to talk about some latest rumours, and I think the biggest one really is that Barnes is looking like he's close to signing for Newcastle, probably within the coming week. Fee for around 35 million. What's your take on that, Reedy? I've had some rumours that apparently he wanted to stay, but the club needed the money for him. So what do you make on it?
See, we've kind of had that kind of situation with Barnes the last few weeks, maybe even a month or so, because of his stats. For me, his stats kind of overshadow his probably quality for me, because many Premier League sides will look at it and think he's a goal scorer. Why not get him for 20, 30 million? And you'd probably snap your hands off for that in the Championship now, but again, the way we're going to be looking at going into the style of play with Enzo Maresca this season, he doesn't probably fit. So I'd probably let him go. Like you said earlier today, saying that Barnes doesn't want to leave, but like you say, the club might need the money. And if we've spent 10 million on Winks, we've spent a certain amount on Cody and on this new keeper as well.
Yeah,
We're going to be using the money we've sold Madison for, and now we need extra funds to fund other players, because you never know, we could get another 3 or 4 in before we start.
I do think we need to strengthen the squad. Like Keith said, 35 to 40 million is a good price. Let him go to reinvest. I think a lot of fans would agree 35 to 40 million for Barnes is, I'd say, fair enough with his contract length and how well he did last season. I'd say that's probably in the right ballpark. Like I said, with him going, regardless of, it doesn't really seem like Enzo's going to play with 100% wingers, maybe more wing backs in the upcoming season, which is fine. And again, you wouldn't want to have someone like Barnes just sat on the bench coming on to change the tactics around. He is a starter. If he goes to Newcastle, he starts, especially with them selling St. Maximum. He's gone to Saudi, I believe, or he's going to. And they're going to need a new winger, and I think it'd be a great club for him. Champions League. If he did go to Newcastle, he's probably one of the players you can't blame for leaving to join a club that is in Champions League and on the way up. It is a tough one. I really hope that money that we get doesn't just lie around, and we do invest it, because I think we all know we need a new striker, a new forward attacking threat, to be honest, because we saw in the past couple of weeks, especially in pre-season, we haven't been as much. We haven't had much threat up top. We saw it over the past 2 seasons. Really, all our goals came through midfield. So I hope we do reinvest this money well.
Yeah, again, I'm going to agree with you that, you know my thoughts on Barnes. The last couple of seasons, and I think even majority of us on Leicester Fan TV will say that when you watch him week in, week out, he, like you say, has more bad games than good games a lot of the time. Yes, he scored goals, and that's what will get him the move. But we watch him week in, week out, and for me, 20 to 30 million pounds for that sort of player is probably about right, because I don't see him going up a level anymore. I think he's probably at his best, which is that harsh to say? I'm not too sure.
Certain players take longer to develop. Barnes has obviously had a few years with us now in the Premier League. He had a good spell at West Brom when he was there. So I think he's still learning as a player. I think he's still quite young, 24, 25. So I think he's got a long way to go. Obviously, as an attacking player, they do retire a little bit earlier compared to defenders or goalies. So their peaks are probably around his age now. So if he was ever to have his best season, it probably would be next season with Newcastle. What he did for us, it wasn't great, but let's be honest, none of the players were amazing last season, hence why we got relegated.
Yeah.
He got 13 goals and a handful of assists as well, really, in that Premier League season where we got relegated. And as a winger, that is probably why he's got his big money move. And fair enough, I could see him doing it all over again in Newcastle, if not more, to be honest with you. And I would consider that a pretty good winger. So I just hope the biggest thing is we've got Spurs on this weekend, and then Liverpool the following week, and then we're into the next week against Coventry. So we need to start moving in some more players and moving out some players. along with Barnes. Which, speaking of, we'll move on to Jonny Evans a little bit. He has signed a short-term contract with Manchester United. What do you make to that?
Again, I'm going to say my opinion on Evans. I don't like him anymore. I just feel like the last couple of years he has lost his quality a bit. Obviously, that's maybe down to his injuries because he's barely been playing football the last few years due to injuries. And I just think in this sort of modern age of football, I just don't think he suits being a defender in the Premier League. Yes, we're not in the Premier League anymore, but you need more agile players in the back line. You need you need faster players, and I just don't think he does cut it anymore. For the way the football is going, again, the way we're looking at going with three at the back, I just don't think he's going to be good enough to defend or to know what he's going to do. But someone like Cody, yes, you'd probably say he's probably on the same kind of level. He's got the same experience, but I think he's got the physicality where Evans just doesn't have it. Do you know what I mean? He's like a Maguire. He's just too slow, and you kind of see it now. Now he's gone up a level. He's just gone straight back down in quality because you can see he's just not good enough. And that's kind of where I'm going to say they're on par with someone like Maguire. I just feel like he's lost his quality that we know he did have when he first joined.
Evans was a very injury-prone player in the past 2 seasons for Leicester. I think out of the 60 possible games he could have played, he featured in 15, which I think is, again, as a captain, it's not something you need in a captain. And I have heard, and I think I kind of agree, I've heard a lot of people say that if this is the attitude of our captain, you can see kind of where it was going wrong last season, where if he doesn't want to sign a new contract with Leicester, he wasn't committed. How committed was he to be the captain of the club last season? And I think that's fair enough comment. I don't know if we had much better options, to be honest with you, last season to be captain. Again, we don't know who the captain is this year. I'm sure we'll figure it out on Coventry, the first game of the season. But like you say, Evans has gone, man. It's short term. I don't know what short term entails, to be honest with you.
From what I've sseen on socials and what Fabrizio has tweeted, he's basically said that he's joined them short term so he can be in training and be in like a pre-season kind of tour, I guess. Not to play form, I don't think, when it comes to the Premier League, but I think he's just making sure he's fit and ready to go in case someone else comes in for him, because we did apparently offer him a contract, but he obviously doesn't want to be in the Championship.
Yeah, like I said, I think that shows a lot from club captain who, let's be honest with you, he didn't do anything last season. He was out injured for the majority of the season. We give him a new contract with his age and what he did with his fitness. So I think for him to reject it does show his where his head's at, really. So I'm kind of glad he did reject us, because if that was his mentality, I don't really want that in the club for next season, because it's going to be a tough one. I think as far as defence goes, we've got a good defence now with Doyle, obviously, in for the season loan. Cody, we signed a great defender, and Fies and Suter at the moment, both still at the club. You probably see Suter here next season. Fies, I think, is a bit of a grey area. I don't know if he's sticking or going, but with Evans gone, pretty much confirmed that he won't be signing for Leicester.
I think, as you say, you think that means he's not going to sign. In my opinion, it's probably the better decision, because we've got someone like Doyle now. Yeah. He's young. Yes, he's only going to be here for a year, but that's what we prefer to use in this style than having someone who's a bit more older and will probably be a lot worse when it comes to counter attacks. And the way we're going for it, I don't think we
just put this comment by Terry. The club haven't announced he's gone because he didn't. There was no contract. His contract ran out, just like Mendy and all those other players had their contracts run out. He was in one of them, and apparently we did offer it. Apparently, Owen said that he got offered one and he rejected a contract.
Yeah,
which is fair enough. He might want Premier League football really at the end of his career, because he's coming towards the end of it. He's 36, 37, I believe, pushing that way. Probably wants to get a couple more years under his belt in Premier League, and maybe he thinks his time's done at Leicester. Who knows? I think we just move on from this now. And I do think, if you ask me, I think we've got a better defender in Conor Cody anyway, to be honest with you.
Well, like I think we were saying about, when we saw the news of Everton looking like they were getting him. I can't remember when, a few days ago. Because it was like leaks of people talking about it and whatnot. And I basically said, we've literally got Cody and they've got Evans. And it's like, we've got the better choice there.
Well, I think that was due to funds. I think Everton would have signed Cody, but I've heard that the FFP is kind of screwing them over a little bit. So, I mean, rightly so.
There you go, Mike. That's what Mike says about Evans. He's basically gone to Man U to stay fit for the internationals, which I understand for his point of view. But like you say, for a captain, even if you do leave, you do make a post. You've been here for a couple of years now. Himself, I don't know if he has made a post, but as a captain who's been a captain for the club the last couple of years, you do something to say thank you or thank you to the fans at least. You know what I mean? So hopefully it comes to a case now where we see someone like Cody get the captaincy role, and he does take it with a scruff of the neck and go for it, because we can see already that he's got the passion.
Yeah. Thanks, Pete, for the necessary comment. We're talking about Evans because he signed for Man United short term. We've not talked about it yet, so this is why we're doing it. It does say it in the title, so you clicked on it, so you're watching it. But yeah, really, like I said, moving on, Barnes pretty much looks like he's on his way to Newcastle, and Evans now signing short term, pretty much confirms he is not going to sign for Leicester again.
Yeah, I've got a quick thing here from Fritz. It came out this morning, but like I say, with Maximan looking like he is going to Saudi, it means that Barnes will be soonly moving to Newcastle. So that looks like it's confirmed that this is going to be done at some point. So, like I say, any more updates, if he does leave, then we probably will go live again. We don't know when it will be.
Yeah, just hoping that if he does go, there's money into the club and we spend it and we don't just keep it in back pockets. GPM Moore says, is Kell going? We've heard a lot of rumours about him leaving. I've heard Forest and Everton be in there as rumours, obviously, at the moment. Nothing more solid than that. But I can only imagine, as a handful of players, we are trying to look to sell. I assume players like Vestergaard and so on, we are trying to sell, but because of their massive contracts that they're on, a lot of these players aren't going to leave Leicester for anything less than what they're on at Leicester. Say if Vestergaard's on 80 grand a week, why would he leave to go join somewhere for 30 grand a week? He wouldn't do it. He'd rather stick it out and be a free agent in the summer and then move on. Yeah,
again, I'm not going to deny about it. That the players like him, you're just not going to get rid, are you? You're just not going to be able to get rid of him. I've said like the last few days that Vestergaard could be useful at times in this championship season, because if you're playing 2 games a week here and there, and the defender gets injured, who else is your backups in defence?
It is, like you say, it's going to be a tough season with pretty much every week we're going to be playing 2 games a week, just because of how grueling the championship is. There's so many fixtures in the game, in the season, so that we've got to have a pretty decent rotation squad. I think we're going to need to ship some players in and out, different matches. I don't think they'll ever be the same 11 every week, because it's going to be a tough one to do in the championship. And not just that, we are going to have cup competitions from the ground up, because we're going to have to play in the early group stages, like we're playing Burton in the Carabao Cup. That's pretty much a few days after we play Coventry. I think that's on the 9th. So we've got to play Coventry 6th, Burton 9th, and then Huddersfield away on 12th. That's 3 games in the space of 6 days, really. You're going to need a pretty good rotation for that. And I think at the moment we're okay, but I do think we need to solidify ourselves a little bit more. And with the Barnes money coming in, I would like to see maybe 2 or 3 or even 4 more transfers come in from that money.
You know what? And I probably would agree, because the way we've brought in signs at the moment, I'm happy with how things have gone at the moment. If there's no more that come in, I wouldn't be annoyed, because we've shown that we're kind of putting ourselves out there and showing that we are still, we want to try and get out of this league first time this season. So hopefully if Barnes does go, you do see a lot more signings come in, because the money's there for it.
I'd even like to see Perot come in from Swansea.
Yeah, exactly. That's 20 million, but it's worth every penny.
If they want 20 million, and if we get 35, 40 million for Barnes, just put all the money towards Swansea and say, we'll have him. You know what he's going to get, how many goals he's going to score. And I think we do need a guaranteed striker to bag goals in. Because if you ask me right now, out of the 3 strikers, I'd say Nacho, I think, could do it, but I don't think he's going to stay. Daka, I think apart from yourself, I think everyone pretty much written Daka off. I don't think he's good enough. He did it last season. He didn't score against the League 2, League 1 sides. He did against Northampton. I know he's on the wing, but anyway, we go in circles with Daka and Vardy. I think his age is showing a little bit. So I just think we do need a striker that knows the league, and Perot I think will be a great person. He scored 20 goals in a pretty below average Swansea team.
Yeah, again, I'm going to keep agreeing with you. Perot has to be brought in if we want to put the money into him. We know we're going to get. Obviously, he's got 20 goals and assists 20 goals and assists combined the last 2 years in a row. You'd think if you did buy him, you'd get that again. Obviously, it's not guaranteed, but you need goals, and even if he brings you 15 to 20 goals, and then the rest of the team bring you another.
We just need to have a striker that starts putting goals away. Really,
that's the point where you need to do it.
Who was the top striker for goal scored? It was either Daka or Vardy, and I think they had 3 or 4.
Exactly,
which is bad.
Maddison had most. Of course, he was probably the best player last season. Barnes was on the wing, but
they're both going.
Exactly, so we're going to lose all the goals.
A lot of our creative attack has and will be going. Like I said, Maddison's already gone, and Barnes is pretty much going to Newcastle. It's all to be done, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
So when we lose both of them, or we've lost Maddison, when we lose Barnes as well, that's both our creating threats that has gone from last season. So we do need to bulk up, I think, in those areas a little bit more. Hopefully, you would
suggest though that if the style we're going for, maybe the likes of if Castagna stays, or if like Christensen or Ricardo, or they're the sort of players that maybe will gain you some more goals because they're going to be up the pitch a lot more.
I think some of these players like Ricardo, he's definitely too good for Championship. I don't think anyone's going to sign him because of how injury prone he is, and I don't put it past me. I think I could see him getting a pretty decent knock in the Championship because it's a tough league, and I think that's why no clubs come in for a big bid for him, because he was a really good player before he got injured, really. But in the past 2, even 3 seasons, he's just constantly out on big periods of time. And to be honest with you, I know that Enzo has been including him into a bit of a mixed role where he's been in the midfield, on the wing back, But if he does get injured, that's one creative player that we can't really afford to lose. But we do need to start bringing in players to easily replace some of these players, which is why I said we need a new striker. As far as the defence and field go, I think we're pretty much okay. We could probably do with a bit more attacking for another central attacking midfielder and another striker. I think would do us pretty well for the upcoming season, because like you say, it's going to be a tough one, and hopefully we don't just stick to the one style of football that, I know Enzo is I think it looks like he's going to do 3 centre-backs and 2 wing-backs and play through the middle of the park. Hopefully that's not his only thing under his sleeve, because we saw Rodgers only did one thing and look at how that ended. If his tactic doesn't work, hopefully he has a different style or different tactics that could change it up. But again, we'll see in the Coventry game, really, because the next one is Spurs and Liverpool, and if you ask me, that's not real competition for us.
Well, Spurs isn't competition, though, is it? So they're awful. They're awful.
They are, well, you say awful. They are better than us, really. They finish
as long as we give Maddison a good game, I don't mind.
Yeah, anyway, that's just the news roundup. Said Barnes is probably going to go in the next couple of days. Like I said, Fabrizio has tweeted about him going. So it looks pretty solid that he is on his way to Newcastle, and hopefully we'll see some more players in before the Coventry game, because we've got 2 weeks, Sunday, until we do play Coventry, and then from there out, like I said, we've got 2 other fixtures within a week of that one, so we do need to bulk up this squad a little bit more, and hopefully we ship out some players that don't want to be here and keep the ones that do want to stay, really.
Yeah, completely agree.
All right, cheers all, thanks for watching.